Welcome back to the channel for another uncut video. My name is Alex O. I am a filmmaker and video producer, and today we're going to talk about community and precisely about building community, because I think a lot of people, a lot of creators are really at the heart of everything that they do when it comes to building content, making videos. At the heart of it is the community, right? It's the people that you're bringing into the experience that you're creating. It's the people that you're having relationships with, and you know them, they know you. These conversations are building true, valuable relationships. And if there's anything that you and I as humans really need, it's a sense of community and a sense of belonging. And so I want to talk about community in the context today. Today, I want to talk about it in the context of online creators, right? Because so many creators that I talk to emphasize community to the point that I think it becomes a buzzword. But I want to talk about the work that it takes to actually build a community. And as a creator, and if you're a creator, then it is your job to make that happen. Think of a community as a home or a space that you're building, right? So when you think about a coffee shop or a community center, these are these are physical third spaces that people are invited into to have relations and to have a time and space to gather, right? As a creator, you're doing this, but digitally. And over the years, there have been a lot of tools that have come out to empower you and enable you to do that. Some of my favorite tools are Circle. I would say Kajabi is also a great one to for anyone that's in the educational content space to host your content there. Facebook groups have been an amazing tool for communities. And there are many, many more tools. Some of my clients really enjoy using Mighty Networks. I personally have not been a huge fan of Mighty Networks, but that is another very, very popular software. But I think the number one question around this is, how do I get people to join my community? And that is a great question. That's like the $1 million question for anyone that's a creator, anyone that's a community builder, is how do I get one person who's outside my community to join? And from my years of experience of building community, and mind you that I'm only 30 years old and I've only been a part of a handful of communities and community building projects, but hopefully in the context of digital spaces, I can kind of share sort of a few examples that might be valuable to you if you're in this world, or if you're trying to build a community. So the first sense of community that I felt that I've really developed was back in high school. I had a small little group of friends at church where we made short films. We called it CEDP Productions, and we made short films we borrowed our pastor's cameras and we would make short films, and this became sort of like its own little group. And it was through this common shared interest and passion for making videos to share with our friends and with our church that it really built the sense of belonging and collaboration. That was really, I think, the first sense of community building that I got. From there, I started a Facebook group. I forget. This was back in 2000, I would say. This was 2011. My friend Terry and I started a group called Daily Prayers Around the World. And we just started it off thinking that it would just be like for me and a couple friends, and we did not expect that page to blow up into, I would say, 2,000 members with zero marketing. I think what people can what I can share from that experience is that if you build a space that promises a value and provides that, then it is inevitable that you will have people join your community, especially if it's a need. And I think early on in 2011, when we built this, I don't even know if it was called Facebook groups at the time. But it really blew up, and people were sharing about like the things that they were going through in life, the hardships. So much of it was really like just people going through hard times and wanting to feel like there was someone else across the nation or across the world that was thinking about you and praying for you. And this group, I think it still exists, and pretty quickly, we were just two high school seniors that started it, and we could not, what do we know, right? Like at the time, we did not really know how to manage it or to really continue building it. But I think the takeaway from that was, if you build a space that really strikes, I think, a chord with people, they will join. So I think the first thing that you need to think about when building a community is how, like the demand, and how many people really need this. From there, I'm trying to think about my next project. Fast forward a few years, I start a nonprofit initiative called Studio 3 at my arts music recording and arts studio. And this was with a partnership with Triple Threat Mentoring. It was a nonprofit, and it was based in Santa Ana. And to be honest, when we launched it, it was a physical space and a physical program. Like it's like a after-school curriculum that we developed for at-risk youth. And we built it not knowing, like, if we knew that kids needed a place to feel safe. We knew that kids needed mentorship. They needed, especially at-risk youth, we knew that they needed people to be adults to be consistent in their lives and to show up and to nurture their sense of curiosity and passion and help guide them, right? And so Studio 3 was, I remember we launched with 4 after-school projects, 4 after-school programs. And I think in like the first day or two, we were just like, oh, we have no clue if anyone will show up. And to our surprise, and with that project, that initiative, we had one arts teacher at the local high school down the street, right off of Edinger and Grand Avenue. There was one high school teacher who heard us out and believed in our mission and believed in what we were offering, and he invited us to come teach a quick lesson in his arts class. And so I bring my small 49 key like MIDI keyboard with my laptop. It had little drum pads on it, and we showed the kids in class, like we just did a live demonstration of, hey, this is a program called GarageBand. This is a app called GarageBand. You can find it on on an Apple computer, and if you plug in this MIDI keyboard, you could play these notes to make like a chord, and you could hit these like drum pads to make sort of like a percussive beat. And from that one demonstration, we had a handful of kids that came up and were interested in what we were doing. So this was kind of to promote our quote unquote beat making class that we had. And so from that project, that was the number one big thing that really changed the trajectory of our community, because we knew that going through like the school district, going through kind of like multiple layers of, I think, the school district and getting placed into like the schools. I think that comes with like a lot of trust and a lot of time spent within the system. But this high school teacher really believing and giving us a chance to just come in and do a demonstration, let students know about what we were offering, what we were doing. And initially we had a couple of students show up, and they loved it so much that they showed up the day after that and the day after that. And, ideally you want to have kids sign up for like the whole 8 weeks, that we have the program. But reality is that, a lot of kids, they don't want to commit to something like that. They're not sure if it's worth their time. And so we were really encouraged when students were coming back week after week. And not only that, they were bringing along a friend. They were like sharing about, the beat making class we had, the writing class we had, the photography that we were teaching. And it was an amazing experience to just see going from like 1 student to 2 students to like 4, 8. And then like next thing we know, we like our studio is full every day with students coming after school and sharing with us about how they feel like it's such a safe space for them to nurture their hobbies and their interests. And it was amazing to see them eventually, like, some of them were juniors and seniors graduating from high school, and then they decided, hey, I think I want to be an artist, or I want to go to college, or I want to go to art school, or I want to go be a photographer. And like to see them grow into those adults even today, because that initiative was really around 2017 and 2018. So it's been about like 7 years, almost 8 years since like that first class that we launched. And to see them now in Santa Ana being like photographers and artists and running their own businesses, it's incredible. But I think back to the moment where everything changed to me, I think was the one high school teacher who believed in our programming, who believed in our team, and gave us a shot to gave us one of his classes for us to come in and teach about beat making to the students to get them engaged. After that, I went on to work on a variety of communities, and there was a handful of projects that, after I think the pandemic, the online community became more and more prevalent. And today, I think there are a lot of creators really looking to build their community. Up until now, I think like the comment section and tools like Patreon have made it more friendly, more possible to have a sense of real community. And you have Facebook groups continuing to build on features, as well as even just new services. Like Discord is not new relatively. Discord has been around for a while, but being able to build your own, Discord server and host, different channels and events, and you are seeing that there is an ecosystem of different apps and different tools to build your community. And throughout the years, I got to work on a variety of projects for different creators, which I will not get into right now because I want to get to the point of why I'm sharing all this. If in 2024 or 2025, you are a creator trying to start an online community and to build this community, I think right now, okay, before I get into that, I want to address that number one, building a community can be extremely lucrative. But when you put profit before people, I think that is the wrong order of really looking at it. right? I think profit comes as a natural, it comes naturally when you build a community that truly changes the lives of people. And you're seeing that happen on a wide variety of digital communities, because I think in today's day and age, people feel more lonely, people feel more confused and overwhelmed by all the information that's out there, more so than ever before. And I think this is really the role of creators and community builders, is to build places where people feel safe and people feel known and people feel connected. And that there is, I think, unlimited demand for that. With that said, I really think to be a good community builder, you have to have different perspectives to have a really successful build, I think. You need to have people that really understand and cares for the people of the community, but you also need people who are very financially literate and really understand how to make a community thrive, because there are costs to community, right? There's operational costs. Digitally, there's a lot of costs with hosting a community. There's a lot of cost of even just hiring people to be managing your community and to receive them and to build those relationships online. And so there are true costs to actually doing it. And oftentimes it is an upfront investment from creators. There's no, at least for me, there's no way around it unless you're getting a grant or you are getting an investment from someone to build your community. And so with that said, let's go right into talking about how do you build your community. And my mindset around this shifted when I was running the studio. This was after Studio 3, the nonprofit initiative. This was during my couple years working with a small group of artists and a music producer and a video crew. And I think I look back on that project and I think about how the handful of people that we were working together to build it. Before that experience, I always thought there's a team that builds the community, and the community is all the people that come and join. But after doing that project, I realized the community begins with you and your people, right? It begins with the first person that believes in you and your vision and starts to build it with you. That is your community from day one. And then you get a handful of people that also believes in the vision, and you start to build this, and you go from 1 to 2 to 5 to 10. And that is your community. And the more you have these people invested into your vision, and the more they can share and bring people in, that is how I think you build true community. So obviously that is the act of building community, the act of bringing people to your community and get them to either see what you're building, or see what you're or even see like your website or your page, and getting them to join in. That obviously, that's another separate thing, right? Because that is more around search engine optimization, that's around paid advertising, that's around making organic social content for people to kind of like stumble across. It's the act of, there's a discovery portion, and then there's a community building portion. So I think those are two things that sometimes get intertwined and mixed, and people are trying to figure out, how do we do like both at the same time? And there are different ways I think approach the community building as well as the discovery, like for people to discover that you exist. And if you have not done the work of organically building your reputation online through either written, spoken, like verbal or video content, if you have not done that work and you're trying to launch something, your only options are, you have very limited options for discovery, right? At this point, you're having to rely on paid advertising, search engine optimization as well, but it's incredibly, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the person that's looking for you, right? So if you think about the scope, the spectrum of all the things you can do to connect with your member, right? Your member's here, you are here, and you're trying to meet, right? SEO helps the member find you easier, right? Paid advertising puts you closer to, your customer, and you're between the two, you're trying to close that gap of you, your community, and that potential member crossing paths. And so I wouldn't, necessarily try to overcomplicate it. I think, a lot of people online try to make it seem like it's a lot more complex than it is. And it is complex when you get into the details and the nitty-gritty of all that. But I think for people who are kind of like first-time community builders, or you're new, you've been a community builder and you're maybe it's your first time building it digitally and online, just start there, right? Start with your mentality around, okay, how do you get the customer closer to discovering you? And then how do you get yourself closer to being more in front of your member? Customer, member, I use those two terms. I use those two terms. They mean the same thing, right? Let's see. What do I want to share next? The other thing that I think is coming back now is sort of discovery through in-person activations, right? So if there is an opportunity for you to be at an event or a conference and actually interface with people, right, in person, this is a fantastic way to also get people to know more about your community, about your brand. And I think right now we're seeing a big shift in institutions. At least from my experience working with institutions, whether that's a university, a very long established organization, even within healthcare, these institutions are now more than ever before recognizing that, or coming to terms with the fact that people are just online, right? Especially my generation of millennials. We are we're just online, and everything that we want is at our fingertips. We could search for it. We could, see ads for it. Like everything that we want. Like we don't want to necessarily go somewhere to then discover you, or serendipitously just meet you and your community just while I'm out on a walk or something. I don't know. My generation has become very, especially younger millennials, I think, have become very aware and used to like a lot of the ways you connect digitally. And even more so for younger generations like Gen Z, Gen Alpha. I can't speak to, bringing them into community because I personally have not worked with that demographic in the context of community building in recent years. But I'm trying to think. But I think about even when I think about my parents and how they're finding community at their stage in life, they're Gen X. and the way they're like my dad has he joins this club called the Rock Hounds, and they go out on hikes and look for rocks, and it's so cute. And then my mom, she's found a community in like these private cooking lessons because she loves cooking, and everyone, people are finding community in so many different ways. And I see them also starting to be more a part of digital communities, not quite, fully, involved there, but I see my dad on like these Zoom like hangouts with like other people who are also interested in like hiking and rocks and mountains and things like that, right? So it's becoming like the barriers, I think, to connect. There used to be, I think, a lot of technological barrier, but I think that is becoming less and less of a barrier. I think in today's, also it's getting so dark. Let me just turn on this light. Okay, now I'm just so red because the lamp is warm, and but anyhow, let's wrap this up. I think where community builders need to be really attentive is, one, if you don't have any semblance of resemblance of like a community online right now, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be either costly in terms of like getting people to join, or it's gonna be just really challenging. So and oh my gosh, I'm realizing my battery's about to run out on my camera, so I'm sorry for being a little disorganized here today, but I think there's a lot that I want to unpack here, so let's save the rest for next time, because this is already a 27-minute video, and I doubt that I don't know if someone's going to watch through me talking about this in a very disorganized way, but I hope that this has been enlightening or insightful to some of you. Please leave a comment down below. As always, I am on Instagram at ITSALEXOH. It's AlexO. And and in the comments down below, just go ahead and leave me any questions you have in regards to community building or around finding members or helping members find you. So that's going to be the topic of, I think, the next video, and we'll dive in deeper. If you have any questions, that will definitely help guide my my lesson. But thank you for being here. Appreciate you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.